All right, so catastrophe at the border. And by the way, that is not disinformation. Ha, ha, ha. Joining me now to talk about it, Stephen Miller, former White House senior policy advisor, founder of America First Legal. I don't mean to make a joke about a serious thing, but Steve Miller, I don't know which is worse now. This disinformation governing board in the Department of Homeland Security, they ought to spend a little less time looking for disinformation and maybe a little more time protecting the border. What do you think about that idea?
Well, first of all, if we are, in fact, going to criminalize speech in America, and in particular we're going to criminalize whatever we view as disinformation, that the #1 offender in the whole country on disinformation is the Secretary of Homeland Security, who has the temerity to go in front of Congress in the midst of the worst border catastrophe in just sheer numbers ever recorded and say that the border is secure and being effectively managed. I mean, just the gall to look Congress in the eye and say that, I don't even know what you call that.
Yeah, well, look at this guy. Right. He should be prosecuted for disinformation. I don't even know what that means.
Yes, I mean, if that's a criminal offense, then he should be prosecuted.
But he also said earlier, as I'm sure you know, he basically said it was Trump who dismantled all the border controls. I mean, that's just...
Right.
I think that's a bigger lie to some extent.
I mean, each and every one of them are just monstrous, gargantuan lies. But that lie in particular really bothers me because of how hard President Trump worked, and his deputies worked, and his staff worked at his direction to hand whoever was going to be the next president, whenever that was going to happen, the most secure border in American history. In 2020, we had 0 discretionary releases. In other words, what I'm saying to you is that every single illegal immigrant that we apprehended, except for maybe a medical emergency, was safely and swiftly returned home or to Mexico. That is how perfectly we were operating.
So what do you make of this disinformation board? I mean, what is this all about? We didn't have this. I mean, they tried to say it was in the Trump administration. That's not true. There was a cyberspace and infrastructure board, but that was completely different than this. This is in the secretary's office. They're talking elections, Stephen. They're talking education. God knows what they're talking about. It's all political ploy. In the Department of Homeland Security, no less.
Yes, well, this individual, Nina Jankowicz, I believe her name is, self-describes herself as an expert in so-called disinformation. And as we know, Larry, having watched the political dialogue for the last few years, the left has weaponized the term disinformation to mean speech they don't like, and in particular, speech that threatens their political prospects. So Exhibit A here has always been the Hunter Biden laptop, which was labeled by the left and by the Democratic Party as Russian disinformation, when in reality was 100% true, completely verified, and they just wanted to cover it up. What is so terrifying about this, even though it comes in the package of a very unserious seeming person, what's so terrifying about it is that it is clearly designed to collude with big tech to eliminate Americans' ability to express themselves online. Clearly where this is headed is they are going to label conservative thought as extremist thought or as disinformation, and then tell technology companies to silence such speech, to tell search engines to bury such speech, to go to people's employers and say to them, police this speech in the workplace or remove these employees. So they're going to go hand in glove with corporations to do what they have always dreamed of doing, which is to run an autocratic state.
See, I just can't figure this. You've got a catastrophe at the border. Democrats are fleeing from Biden's border policies. Democrats in the Senate and the House, especially the Senate, Steve, are fleeing from ending Title 42. I mean, they're just running as fast as they can away from it. And here's Marcus unveiling, I know it had been around for a few months, but nobody knew about it, this you know, Disinformation Governance Board or whatever it's called. I mean, to say he's taken his eye off the ball is vast understatement. But to me, this is just compounding a failure and compounding a political blunder even more.
Well, Mayorkas has revealed himself to be a radical. I mean, he's revealed himself to be a deeply ideological, deeply partisan, deeply radical individual. His comments on the border, which I suppose are designed to protect Biden by just lying to Congress, are the equivalent of if the engine operator in the Titanic was reporting up to the captain after hitting the iceberg and taking on water that the ship had never been in better condition and we were going to make it all the way across the Atlantic, no issues whatsoever, as the whole thing's going down. But that's his mission. His mission is to lie on the, I guess, the desperate hope that some percentage of the country won't see through it. But in reality, what it's doing is it is making a mockery of the Department of Homeland Security, where you have a propagandist-in-chief. And now, I guess, the next step in the plan is anybody who does speak the truth is going to be penalized by the new Ministry of Truth.
Well, the new Ministry of Truth, I like that. I got to use that one. But you know what? Your other point, it's making a mockery out of the Department of Homeland Security, which should be a very important agency for Homeland Security and law enforcement. And it's been completely subverted by these woke lefty Biden people. I mean, but it's a very important agency, and it ought to do its job. But anyway, the cavalry's coming.
It was created after 9/11 to keep us safe. It's an extremely important agency, and what's happening now is a historic tragedy.
I agree. Steve Miller, thank you, my friend. We'll talk soon. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you.